Hey everybody, let's keep going. Law 25, recreate yourself. Create an identity that commands attention and never bores. Be the master of your own image. Use large gestures and actions. Your character will seem huge and you'll gain power. So here's one I don't necessarily disagree with, but there's still a narcissistic spin on it. I do believe that you should always get better. I think you should always improve year to year. I don't think you should be the same person you were when you graduated from high school or you graduated from college. I think you should be an interesting person, but for yourself, not for the sake of gaining power. I think when you're an interesting person, it builds a sense of self-confidence and self-pride in you, that you care about yourself. You take pride in your appearance, your knowledge, your skill set, whatever it is. But doing it for the sake of gaining power over others, that's what makes it a narcissistic move. Law 26, keep your hands clean. Never appear soiled by mistakes. Use others as scapegoats to disguise your involvement. I mean, is this not criminal advice? Is this criminal advice 101? Use others as scapegoats to disguise your involvement. Okay. Law 27, play on people's need to believe, to create a cult-like following. People want to believe in something. Become the focal point of this and offer them a cause, a new faith. Keep your words vague but full of promise. Emphasize enthusiasm over rationality. Give your new disciples rituals to perform and ask them to make sacrifices. So this is a law, I guess, out of every pyramid scheme, every cult. What was that cult years ago where they all drank the Kool-Aid and died? It was a while back. It was like in the 90s, but it was super weird. Stargate cult, I think is what it was called. You know, give them a ritual, have them make a sacrifice, give them something new to believe in, right? So play on people's need to believe in something. That's Law 27. Law 28, enter action with boldness. If you're unsure, then don't do it. Timidity is dangerous. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Everyone admires boldness. No one honors the timid. So let's look at this. If you're unsure, then don't do it. That I agree with. Timidity is dangerous. That I agree with. It can be. In terms of, let's take the highway. It's one of my favorite examples. You can't really be scared on an interstate. You really have to be certain with every move that you make and every action you take. So being afraid, like on the highway, is dangerous. I agree with that. This one is funny. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. So you've been in a discussion with an argument, you've called with a narcissist, you've called them out, and instead of them saying, you know what, I was wrong, they just covered up with bigger, better lies, grander lies that they don't even believe. The lie will leave their mouth, and then they kind of get a look on their face like, God, even I don't believe that, right? But, it's a mistake, so, and they committed it through audacity, so they're just going to cover it up with more audacity. Just make it even worse, right, than it already is, instead of just saying, you know what, you're right, I'm wrong, and I apologize. Law 29, plan all the way to the end. The ending is everything. Take into account the scenario. If you plan, you won't be overwhelmed. Guide fortune by thinking far ahead. This I actually agree with. I don't necessarily consider that to be narky unless the planning all the way to the end is you crushing this target entirely. If that's the plan, then yeah, I disagree with that. But I do think you should plan things. You should plan things out all the way to the end. Most people only plan the first couple of steps. Really think things through and think from the ending to the present day, and it'll help you plan. So again, this book is a problem because so much good stuff is weaved in with so much narcissistic advice. Law 30, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Conceal the clever tricks. Make your success seem natural. Do not reveal how hard you work. Teach no one your tricks. So the first three, conceal the clever tricks, make your success seem natural, don't reveal how hard you work. I kind of agree with that, especially in the corporate environment. everyone doesn't necessarily need to know the struggle unless they can help. But it should appear somewhat effortless. And if it's not, there's some inefficiencies in the system that need to be corrected, because nothing should be a sincere struggle anymore. I mean, we have the internet now. People have the internet in a wristwatch, walking around with them. So it's like nothing should really be that much of a struggle anymore. But, if you want to appear like someone who's got it together, then don't make it seem as hard as it is, unless it really is and you need to raise your hand and ask for some help. Don't suffer in silence. I hope that makes sense. But here's the part that bothers me. Teach no one your tricks. Well, this is part of the reason that the present generation, that some call the millennials, really are having a lot of trouble in the workforce, because a lot of boomers and Xers who came just before the millennials don't want to help them. There's a lot of assumptions about millennials that they don't want to work hard, they're entitled, all this stuff. I could do a whole series on that because I disagree with 90% of it. But part of the reason they're so frustrated is because the generations before them are in these positions that they feel like they had to work so hard to get. And now this new generation has come up, they're new in career, and the older generation is very reluctant to help them. They're very reluctant to pass down knowledge. They're very reluctant to pass the torch, not realizing that you're all a part of the same boat, and the boat is all headed in the same direction. So it's useful if everyone on the boat knows what they're doing. But if you got a whole crew, half your crew doesn't really know what they're doing because you only feed them bits and pieces. If the ship starts sinking, only half of you are going to know what to do. But I'm digressing at this point. I might do a whole series on that. But teach no one your tricks. Law 31, control the opinions. Get others to play with the cards you deal. The best deceptions seem to give the other person a choice. Give options, so no matter their choice, you win. I mean, it's an agenda, it's a plan, you're actually calculating on somebody. That probably works for little kids. Like, you can either go to bed right now, or you can go to bed in, I don't know, bad example, but you get my point. Like, people do it to little kids all the time. They give them two options, and both of them, the parent wins. But it's for the kid's benefit, though, not for their detriment. Okay? So, let's go on to Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. The truth is unpleasant. Avoid it. People that manufacture romance are like oases in the desert. There's great power in tapping into people's fantasies. This law really stuck with me and had me thinking for a long time afterwards. So basically what he's saying is, take note of people who have really big imaginations, because it's very easy to toy with people like that. You plant an idea, you give them one sentence, and they actually take what you give them and run with it. And before you know it, the narc doesn't have to work very hard, because the person with this massive imagination has created this whole storyline for them, and usually to their benefit. The person with imagination usually doesn't create bad storylines. So the narcissist uses that to their advantage in a major, major way. They can tell when your head is in the clouds. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a huge imagination, because I have a massive one, which is probably why I've been a target over the years. But it's more so showcasing your huge imagination. Let that be something that gets discovered later, but not something that you put out there right away, because people like this are looking for those kinds of doors in. They're looking for a way in to say, oh, this one thinks a lot. This one's very creative. This one has a huge imagination. Let me give her something to imagine. Let me give him something to imagine. So there you have it. So that Law 32 stuck out to me. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. Find others' weaknesses. It's usually insecurity, uncontrollable emotions, secret pressures, or as in the previous example, huge imaginations. So, I mean, this is what narcissists do every day. They look for how they can take their target down. They look for those easily collapsed agendas. They look for those rubber band boundaries. They look for huge imaginations and big eyes, wide eyes. They look for that kind of stuff so they can figure out how best to access you and then utilize you. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. The way you carry yourself determines how you're treated. Appearing vulgar or common will make people disrespect you. Kings respect themselves and inspire the same in others. By acting confident, you make yourself destined to wear a crown. That one I actually don't disagree with. This one ties into another one that I can't remember which number it was. But I do think that the way you carry yourself determines how you're treated. I do think appearing vulgar or common, whatever common means to you, will make people disrespect you. And here's how I think this particular law can be flipped to the benefit to protect yourself from these people. Remember, they're always searching. One of the previous laws talked about pretending to be a friend so you can get information. So if they're pretending to be a friend, they're looking for your weak point. They're looking for that big imagination that they can tap into. If you're a person who doesn't really care about your appearance, they see that as you're a person who doesn't really care about yourself. And to them, that makes it so much easier for them to access you. So you should always appear what I like to call loved. Look loved. Look like somebody loves you. Look like somebody cares about you. Think about a child that looks loved. Their faces have been wiped clean. Their little hair has been brushed or combed into whatever you can get it in, if they have any hair at all. Their clothes are clean enough. Kids get dirty, but their clothes are clean enough. They look loved. Think about a pet that looks loved. Have you ever seen a pet out on the street, running around, running loose, and you said to yourself, oh, that's somebody's pet. That he or she belongs to somebody. That's somebody's dog. Why do you say that? Why do you know that that's somebody's dog? How do you know that that's somebody's pet? Especially if they don't have on a collar. How do you know? They look loved. So it's very important for people who tend to be targets of this type of behavior to look loved. Take care of themselves to the best of your ability. You don't have to try to keep up with the celebrities and all of their resources, but do the best that you can possibly do, because it sets narcissists off. It says to them, this person has self-respect, this person has pride, and this person also probably has people that care about them. So they may not be as easy of a target as I would like for them to be, so I'm going to leave them alone. So that's taking one of their laws and flipping it to our advantage. Law 35, master the art of timing. Never seem in a hurry, always seem patient. Sniff out the spirit of the times, find the trends that'll give you power. Learn to stand back when not ready, and then strike. So again, it's all about strategy. It's all about positioning yourself for ultimate power as if you're at war. And most of the people reading this probably report to an office building every single day. You're not at war. But narcissists are, though, and that's the problem. We are at war with narcissists. We just don't know it. And that's why we've been victims for so long, because we didn't realize we were in a war. But they're out here plotting and strategizing. They're analyzing trends to see which trends they need to pick up on that'll give them more power. They're standing back and then they're striking. Like, it's craziness. So this is why I do these videos. We have to develop an awareness around this, because we're at war. We just didn't know it. So we're out here with no armor. We have no protection. We have no weapons. We have no knowledge, because we didn't know. But now we know. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Acknowledging petty problems gives them existence. When you acknowledge an enemy, you make them stronger. The more you mistake visible, that's a typo, I'm not sure what that's supposed to say, so I'll skip it. If you want something but can't have it, disdain it. In other words, hate it. The less interest you reveal, the more superior you seem. I mean, what a brat. So in other words, if you can't have something, hate on it. Be a hater. Talk about it. Tear it down. Talk about, belittle it or act like you're above it or like it's beneath you because, you can't have it. I mean, how childish. But that's a law of power. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. So a quick review, 25 through 36. Law 25, recreate yourself. Law 26, keep your hands clean. Law 27, play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. Law 28, enter action with boldness. Law 29, plan all the way to the end. Law 30, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Law 31, control the opinions. Get others to play the cards you deal. Law 32, play to people's fantasies. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. Law 35, master the art of timing. And Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. I mean, this is just childish at this point.